Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming my top 10 eyeshadow palettes that I would recommend for you guys during the Sephora sale. I don't want to blabber on too much about it, but the Sephora sale should be in full swing for Rouge members when you're seeing this video. And you guys know how much I love eyeshadow palettes, so I had to talk about some new palettes that I picked up from Sephora. So if you're interested, just keep watching. So this is supposed to be a top 10 list. I cannot figure out, I had in my head what I was gonna list as number 10 and I cannot figure out what it was. So I'm just gonna start and then we will make it work. But I was too lazy to go grab all the palettes because I'm very pregnant right now. So just be glad you're getting a video. But the first palette I wanted to highlight for you guys is, of course, the newest Pat McGrath palette, the holiday palette, Celestial Odyssey. I do have videos for pretty much every single palette I'm going to talk about today, so I will link them down in a pinned comment for you guys with affiliate links so you can shop the sale. I just want to say thank you for using my codes or my links. If you guys decide to shop with my links, it really helps me out. And I know it's the season. Sephora sale season is huge on YouTube. So you're going to see tons of videos, tons of influencers you guys love. So I know the opportunities and the choices are endless. So anytime you guys choose to shop through my links, it makes me so happy. So thank you so much. I genuinely mean that. So anyway, back to the Celestial Odyssey palette, another hit from Pat McGrath this year, and it's kind of a bigger palette. I don't love the packaging. Actually, I like the packaging. I just don't like that she left this space in the middle, but you know what? She's allowed to create the palette the way she wants. It's her brand, so it's not the end of the world. It's just not my favorite. But another great way to try Pat McGrath without going for those very pricey 10-pan eyeshadow palettes, the Mothership palettes. I mean, I am going to talk about the other Mothership palette in this video, so spoiler alert, but I do appreciate the Celestial Odyssey palette. I think it's so fun because there's some greens, some blues, some neutral shades, which I love because I feel like she included some of the shades we don't always see in her palettes. So I love that. I do wish that we would get some colorful mattes from Pat. I do like her matte formula. I know some people don't like her matte formula, but I find it very easy to blend and really nice. So yeah, I think this is a winner for the sale, and anytime you can get makeup on a discount, I'm here for it. So I'm recommending it to you guys. So the next palette I want to recommend to you guys is the ABH Primrose palette. So I wasn't interested in this palette at first, but something I realized about makeup lovers and YouTube watchers is not everybody, of course, has the same taste as me. And sometimes when I play with neutral palettes, you guys really enjoy it. So I wasn't drawn to this palette at first, but I did end up thinking I love the ABH formula. Why am I depriving myself of this new palette? All I've wanted all year was for ABH to launch a new palette, and they gave me a neutral palette, which again, I'm not super happy about, but I will say the formula is lovely. I really like the blush shade they included. I think it's called Saddle or something. Terracotta shade that they included in the palette, I think is beautiful. So if you are a neutral lover, I think this would be the perfect palette for the holiday season for you. Every brand has done a really good neutral palette though for the holiday season. So yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. Okay, next is the Huda Beauty Wild Obsessions palette. Mine is right here, so let me grab it. But I wanted to recommend the Jaguar palette because everybody's just been loving cool tone palettes recently. And I feel like this is a really nice cool tone palette. Now, with Huda's Obsession palettes, they can be such hits and such misses. So I was really nervous about these palettes because I really enjoyed the color story. And I was able to buy them at Sephora. So I felt a little bit of relief. If I really hated them, I could take them back to the store. But I actually really like this palette. And I think this is a really nice size. And it's really going to take you out of your comfort zone if you're not really into cool tones. But there's a little bit of a safety net because these purpley shades are not too wild, or they're not going to make your eyes look too bruised. Because I swear sometimes with cool tones and my warm skin tone, I feel like I just look like I have a black eye. So I think this is the perfect cool tone kind of out of the box palette if you're shopping the Sephora sale this year. Okay, the next palette I want to recommend, because I'm hearing that this is going to be discontinued, is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. Now, Natasha Denona had a very hit or miss reputation on YouTube back in the day, like when I was watching YouTube when she first launched with those 200 and something dollar palettes, which let me tell you, I bought those last Black Friday and I've been meaning to film with them for Black Friday this year and I still haven't filmed with them. Embarrassing. Anyway, the gold palette is the one that like made me a Natasha Denona convert, and it's such a gorgeous palette, beautiful neutral shades, so many gorgeous glittery shimmery duochromes. So if you're into the vibe and you don't want to miss it, I would highly recommend it because it's one of my favorite palettes from Natasha Denona. Next is, there's a lot of Natasha Denona in here. The next one is the Retro palette. This is a newer palette from her. And honestly, again, another kind of boring berry tone palette. I was kind of like, come on, Natasha. Like, give me more like Circle Loco. Give me more of the Trio Chrome palettes. You know, give me more color. But honestly, there's something so beautiful about the Retro palette. It's got some beautiful berries, such a good formula. It's one of my favorite midi palettes. I'm not gonna lie, it's really, really nice. So I would recommend watching all my videos on the palettes I'm mentioning because obviously you'll see them come alive in those videos. You'll see swatches, you'll see eye looks with my skin tone, which I think is really helpful, especially if we have a similar skin tone. So yeah, every palette I'm talking about, I'll link the video down below if I did a video with it. And the Natasha Denona Retro does not disappoint in my humble opinion. Okay, the next one is kind of a random one. I buy the Too Faced Holiday palette every year, so I did pick up the Cinnamon Swirl palette, and man oh man was I impressed. It's truly like a warm neutral palette. There's no like fancy tricks to it. There's no hidden multi-chromes or anything like that, but it's such a nice palette. Like the shades are so flattering and they're simple. You don't have to like rack your brain to figure out what color combo to use, and it's just such a great everyday palette. So that is why I'm recommending it for the Sephora sale. If you guys are one of those people that buys one eyeshadow palette a year and then you pan it and then you go to the next eyeshadow palette, if you're one of those people, I think this one would be ideal for you, and it's really cute and I really like it. So very, very happy with that palette. The next one is kind of a pricey one. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Smoky Eyes palette. Again, another palette that I kind of buy every year. This one is so stunning. It's such a pretty neutral palette with that like olive green tone and that black shade. So you can do like a bit of a grungy eye look with it. I think it's like the perfect like sophisticated evening with your husband or your wife or your significant other. Just like a holiday party type vibe. Like I always think of like events that go along with palettes. I don't know why. I don't know if you guys do that. But for me, this one just screams like classy holiday party, and I'm so happy I picked it up. I paid full price for it. I would say if you can save 20%, save 20%, but the Charlotte Tilbury formula is so good. So good if you like a really nice blendable formula. So highly recommend that palette for the sale. The next thing I have is the Pat McGrath Mothership 9, the Huetopian Dreams palette. I thought the palette looked so, well, I didn't think it looked lame, but I felt like we all collectively felt a little bit let down because a lot of people were thinking like Pat McGrath was going to give us like a rainbow palette. There was like a rainbow in the packaging and everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's going to be a rainbow palette. I'm like, girl, no. Like Pat McGrath does not do things like that. But I think in her own way, she delivered something super sophisticated. I really like the Huetopian Dream palette. It's almost like a neutral palette with like a, it's just got like a ping to it. Like, I don't know, it's simple, but then the special shades are so like fun and unexpected. So I really like it. It's a very expensive palette. I think it's the most expensive one on my list. Yeah, it's the most expensive one on my list, but it's so nice. So I would highly recommend checking it out if you've been eyeing it. I'm sure if you wait a little bit, Pat McGrath might have an even better sale. So you could probably get it like 25% off potentially. But I feel like 20% off of a $125 palette is still a really good deal. So I would highly recommend if you've been eyeing it. These are like my favorite palettes that are on Sephora right now. So that's why I'm talking about them in this video for you guys. Okay, so the next one is an unexpected one. It's the Natasha Denona Mini Metropolis. I thought this was so stupid because I'm like, why? Why? I have the full size. Like, I don't need to buy the mini. But I was placing a Sephora order and the palette happened to launch the same day. So I was like, let me just buy it. So I bought it and it's so pretty. It's such a pretty palette. If I didn't have the full size Metropolis, I feel like buying this palette might convince me to buy the full-size Metropolis. I love the shades that are from the Metropolis palette that are in the mini. It's a little excessive that I have both because the two new shades in the mini are two neutral shades that I didn't even use when I did my look with the palette. But oh my goodness, the formula is great. I actually packed the mini Metropolis in my hospital makeup bag because I figured I could do a really pretty neutral look with it. So I'm taking it with me to the hospital if I decide to do the makeup. I did grab a bunch of like Natasha Denona mini palettes to take to the hospital. So I was thinking I might do like a little video of showing you what's in my like hospital makeup bag. But I think I'll film that once I get back from the hospital because if I don't actually use any of the makeup, I think it'll be kind of silly. But I'm hoping I can do a little bit of makeup just because I know there's going to be like photos at the hospital. So yeah, I grabbed my Natasha Denona mini palettes to take with me because I love the mini gold, the mini Metropolis. So I had to bring those with me and they're like the perfect travel size palette, which is hopefully what you guys will be doing for the holiday season. Hopefully getting to spend some quality time with your family. Also, I think the little Metropolis mini is such a giftable little stocking stuffer type product as well. Okay, let me just go see what I meant to, I cannot remember what I meant to recommend as my 10th palette. I feel like such a silly Billy because I know I had something in mind and I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be palette number 10. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and grab a bit of a blast from the past. I mean, this palette did launch this year, so I feel like we should include it, even though it's not the newest palette, it's still a really good one. The Artist Couture Supreme Bronze Eyeshadow Palette. It is in stock on Sephora, $42, so you guys can grab it if you're interested. But what I love about this palette is it's really just a beautiful neutral palette, and I love wearing colorful eyeshadow looks like this one, but I also love a good neutral palette. And Artist Couture has not disappointed me with the Supreme Nudes or the Supreme Bronze palette. Honestly, I would recommend either of those palettes for you guys if you're on the hunt for a good neutral palette. I love all the palettes in this video. Honestly, they're all solid. I've tested every single one out. And they're wonderful and they're easy to use. They're blendable. They're pigmented. The price point is mostly decent. Not really, because Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath are kind of expensive. So are Charlotte Tilbury, but you know, those are just minor details. Anyways, that is the 10th palette that I want to recommend to you guys. Kind of a bit of an older one, but still a good palette. And I know I have a few palettes on my wish list for the Sephora sale. So I'm going to film a Sephora wish list video, like sharing my wish list with you guys. So stay tuned for that. And I definitely want to declutter my loves list as well because it is full of products. So I know that's always a fun video for you guys as well during the Sephora sale. So let me know what palettes you've been eyeing for the Sephora sale. I love hearing your thoughts in my comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you in my next video soon. Bye!